Joe Flacco turning heads about Shedeur Sanders. Listen, can Todd Monken turn the Cleveland Browns offense around this year in 2026? And which player on the offensive side will benefit from Todd Monken's offense? We get ready to talk about it right here on Sports Talk with B. Watson. Let's get this show started. Let's go. Listen, Netflix in the second.
Joe Flacco looked Shedeur Sanders dead in the eye on a Netflix set and told him to keep his head up. Not because Shedeur needed comfort, because everybody in that room knew what was coming. A quarterback competition that never really ended, a rookie season that never really started the way people expected, and a city that's been holding its breath for 12 months, waiting to see if the kid they drafted is actually the guy who saves this franchise. This is the story of Shedeur Sanders heading into year 2 in Cleveland. Not the highlight reel version, the real one. The one with doubt baked into every headline. The one where a joke about a visor turns into a conversation about who's really QB1. And the one where a brand new head coach has to decide, fast, whether he's building around the former MVP with a violent injury history, or a rookie who's shown flashes but hasn't been handed the keys. Let's get into it. Go back to that Netflix moment for a second. It's small. It's almost throwaway. Joe Flacco, veteran, been in this league forever, jokingly clowns Shedeur about wearing a visor with his helmet, the kind guys like Lamar Jackson and Dak Prescott wear, the kind that's supposed to make you look a little more locked in, a little more, don't talk to me, I'm working. Flacco laughs it off, Shedeur laughs it off, but then Flacco says something that wasn't really a joke at all. He tells him to keep his head up, brother to brother, vet to rookie, because Flacco already knew he was getting traded. He signed with the Bengals not long after, and when a guy who's about to walk out the door takes a second to tell the rookie to stay strong, that's not small talk. That's a warning wrapped in kindness. That's a veteran who's seen how this league chews up young quarterbacks under pressure, and he's making sure Shedeur knows it's coming. And it did come, all year.
A 1-year contract to remain there this year. Shedeur Sanders entering his second year in a quarterback battle with Deshaun Watson to see who will be QB1. Speaking on who will be QB1, the Cleveland Browns will benefit more with Shedeur Sanders being QB1. Check this out.
So that's why I think you have this unique.
Because here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud in Cleveland. Shedeur Sanders was drafted into one of the most complicated quarterback rooms in the entire NFL. Deshaun Watson, a fully guaranteed contract, franchise money tied to his name, and expectations that once had this city dreaming about a Super Bowl. Then Dillon Gabriel, drafted in that same class, another arm in the room. And then Shedeur, carrying a last name that comes with cameras attached to it everywhere he goes. 3 quarterbacks, 1 job, and a fan base that's watched this organization search for stability at the position for over 2 decades. So when people ask why Shedeur's rookie year felt like it was under a microscope, that's why. Every incompletion got replayed 100 times online. Every practice rep got dissected by analysts who've never met the kid. Every visor joke turned into a storyline. That's the pressure. That's what Flacco saw coming. Now here's where it gets interesting, because this isn't just a story about criticism, it's a story about belief too. Real belief, from people who've actually been around football long enough to know what they're looking at. Tyvis Powell came out and said it plainly. He didn't hedge. He said Shedeur fits exactly where Cleveland needs to go long-term, not because of hype, because of how the kid processes the game, how he's wired mentally, how he handles being coached. And that word, coachable, keeps coming up around Shedeur from people inside these buildings. Not talented, not gifted arm, coachable. In this league, that word means more than almost anything else you can say about a young quarterback, because talent without coachability gets you cut. Coachability with talent gets you a career. One evaluator put it simply, this is the kind of opportunity where if he hits, you hit the lottery in every sense of the word, not just wins and losses, marketing, merchandise, national attention, a quarterback who can carry an entire brand on his back the way a select few can. That's the ceiling people are talking about behind closed doors, even while the public conversation stays stuck on doubt. So, which is it? Is Shedeur the guy who can't beat out a former MVP for a starting job? Or is he the guy a rebuilding franchise is quietly building its entire future around? That tension, that's the whole story right there.
Shot at being a head coach in the NFL. And I'm telling you, he want to win. Which quarterback will give him the opportunity to win? Not just this year, but win the first game of the season against Jacksonville. To me, I don't know about you, but it's Shedeur Sanders. And also when I look at this, which player will benefit the most from?
And it doesn't get resolved without talking about Deshaun Watson honestly, because you can't tell Shedeur's story without it. Watson was electric in Houston. Every quarterback in this building will tell you that if you ask them off the record. 4,000-yard seasons, touchdown numbers that made him one of the most dangerous throwers alive. That version of Watson is exactly why Cleveland handed him a fully guaranteed deal that changed how this league thinks about quarterback contracts forever. But that version of Watson has been buried under injuries for years now. Shoulder issues, a serious knee injury that required a long recovery. And football doesn't wait for your body to catch back up to what it used to be. The explosiveness that made him must-watch television in Houston isn't guaranteed to come back the same way, no matter how much anyone in that building wants it to. And that's the uncomfortable question hanging over the entire quarterback room. What have you done for us lately? Not what you did in 2020, not what got you paid. What can you do right now, on this roster, under this new coaching staff, in year one of a completely different offensive identity? Which brings us to the man in the middle of all of it, Todd Monken. This isn't Monken's first rodeo calling plays. He built his name as an offensive coordinator, first in college, then with the Baltimore Ravens, where he helped shape one of the most explosive offenses in the league. But this is his first shot as a head coach in the NFL, and anybody who's been around this business long enough knows exactly what that means. His seat gets hot the moment the losses start piling up. A rookie head coach doesn't get the same leash a proven one does. If this thing goes sideways early, people around the league are already saying it out loud. Monken could end up a one and done. So when you hear people say Monken wants to win now, understand what that really means. It means every decision he makes at quarterback isn't just about the season, it's about his own career. And that's exactly why the pressure inside that quarterback competition is so much heavier than a normal camp battle.
Monken want to win, and he got to get off to a right start, because if this thing goes south, Todd Monken easily can be a one and done head coach, a 1-year head coach if it goes south. So if I'm putting my job on the line as a head coach, trust me, I'm going with Shedeur. Todd Monken have seen Shedeur up close and in person when he was.
Monken has already seen Shedeur up close. He watched him from the other sideline, back when Shedeur was playing college football and Monken was calling plays in Baltimore's building. He studied the tape from Shedeur's rookie appearances too. The flashes, the poise, the moments where the kid didn't blink under pressure. And by nearly every account coming out of that locker room, the players already know who gives this team its best shot at winning games right now. That's not a leak. That's not a rumor. That's the quiet consensus building inside the Browns facility, whether the front office says it publicly or not. Because during open practices, when reporters got a look behind the curtain, the story that came back wasn't close. People walked away talking about how sharp Shedeur looked, how much more composed he seemed. And when they talked about Watson, the tone was noticeably different, cautious, careful, hedged with phrases like still working back and getting there. You don't need a press release to read between those lines. And this is where the story turns, because it's not just about who wins the job, it's about what happens once someone does. If Shedeur gets the keys game one, this offense actually sets up beautifully for him. He's not walking into an empty cupboard. Jerry Jeudy is out there stretching the field. Denzel Boston and Isaiah Bond give this passing game speed and separation. Harold Fannin Jr. at tight end might be the single most important piece of this whole puzzle. A security blanket, a mismatch nightmare, the guy who can turn a shaky third down into a first with one contested catch. If Fannin builds on last year and takes another leap, it makes life dramatically easier for whoever's throwing him the ball. And then there's Quinshawn Judkins in the backfield. Monken has always leaned on a physical run game everywhere he's been. Georgia, Baltimore, now Cleveland. Expect this offense to lean on Judkins hard, and don't be shocked if he ends up crossing 1,000 yards on the ground this season. A strong run game does something specific for a young quarterback. It slows the game down. It takes pressure off 3rd and long. It lets a guy like Shedeur play within himself instead of forcing throws downfield just to keep drives alive. That's the version of this offense that could make Shedeur look exactly what people believed he could be on draft night.
Do to support the broadcast is highly appreciated. Live show, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Come on back and rock with your boy tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I look forward to seeing you for the live show. Until then, peace.
I'm locked in. Woke up different, something click today. All that noise finally drift away. Got a vision and I see it clear. Tunnel vision, I don't feel the fear.
But none of it happens without touches, without reps, without someone in that building saying, "This is our guy, live with the results." And if you go back and look at the pattern of Shedeur's career, there's something worth paying attention to. Jackson State, year 2, he took a jump. Colorado, year 2, another jump. There's a track record here of him getting more comfortable, more dangerous, more himself the longer he's in a system. If that pattern holds in Cleveland, year 2 might be the year everything clicks. That's the story Browns fans are holding on to right now. Not blind hope, a pattern, a trend, a kid who's shown he levels up when given time. Before we get into where all this is headed, if this story's got you locked in, do me a favor and hit subscribe. This channel breaks down everything happening inside the Browns building. Every angle, every voice, no fluff. And you're not going to want to miss what comes next in this quarterback race. Because here's the thing nobody in Cleveland is saying out loud, but everybody's thinking it. This isn't really a competition anymore in the eyes of the locker room. It's a formality the front office still has to work through publicly. Privately, the players already know who gives them the best chance week 1. And when Todd Monken finally has to make that call, not in a press conference, but in real, tape-confirmed decisions, he's going to have to decide if he's betting his own head coaching career on health and hope, or on a rookie who's already shown he doesn't rattle. If Shedeur Sanders gets named the starter game 1 and holds that job all 17 games, and this team stays reasonably healthy around him, there's a real belief inside these evaluations that this roster is talented enough to make a playoff push. Not a guarantee, but a real shot. And if that happens, if the kid who got clowned about a visor on Netflix, the kid whose last name made him a walking headline before he even threw an NFL pass, turns into the guy who finally ends Cleveland's quarterback nightmare, that's not just a good story. That's the kind of story this league remembers for a long time. So when the season kicks off and that first snap comes against Jacksonville, watch closely, because whatever happens in that opener is going to tell you everything about where this franchise is really headed and whether Todd Monken made the right call when it mattered most.